I'm Johan, I'm the studio manager at Paradox Development Studios. Europa Universalis is a franchise we've been working with since the late 90s. It's the game that started everything that is Paradox today, that created the entire publisher has been built upon the history of this game. The last version, EU3, was released in 2007, and now we're back working on EU4. So what does make EU4 unique and fun? Well, it's a game that's a grand strategy. We were the ones that invented the genre back in when internet was a small fad. Anyway, when people were worried about 2K. So it's a game where you play on a global map. You play any country in the world. You're playing from 1444 to the Napoleonic era, like late 18th century. So basically, you can play as any country here. I've started as Venice here, because Venice shows two of the new cool stuff in this game. This game is running on a new improved engine, Clausewitz 2.5, which multi-core graphics, whatever. It's a strategy game. The idea is to make it feel believable and nice, and not so that you scrape your eyes out because the colors make them bleed. What else did we do except making it more optimized and look better? We did very much high improvements of interface. If we're taking one of the first interfaces here, we try to make them cleaner. We want to make them so that's obvious what you're doing on every screen. Instead of diplomacy in the previous game, we had long lists of text that described of who's having which relationship with each other. Instead, we now have a row for each type of diplomatic relations you have. So you have like all the ones you are at war with, they're on the same line with the flags. Those that you have a truce with, those you have allied with, and all other intricate little things. Now that I say that this is a clean and polished and interface, some people might get scared, but this is a complex game. But it's also, interfaces should not just be easy to get into, it should be clear for the player after they played a while, and also being easy to handle when you're a master player, because you should not be able to be forced to do multiple clicks and do multiple things. All of these three pillars in designing interfaces are an interesting challenge. So what we have done otherwise is we've changed the game mechanics quite a lot. We didn't want to like throw everything out with the, not throwing out the baby but with the bath water, but we basically wanted to say like, okay, this part here we want to rip out and put something new in that are replacing it with a better system or new concept. Then we're adding a small few things, making some slightly less big in scope, but trying to keep the same scope of level. So we've done stuff like reduce the impact of spies, but we increased the presence of diplomacy in the game. So this makes this is just a minor little aspect of it. We also made so that some systems were changed, like technology has been completely overhauled, but most and biggest features change we have is first trade. Trade used to be the same from the first EU up to EU3, and it was about placing merchants. As soon as you got merchant, place them everywhere to just increase money and get more money, and it didn't really feel that much fun gameplay. So instead we thought, okay, what is really trade in this world? Trade is about trade routes. If you can see these small little dots here and ships going about, this is the trade routes. You can go to specific trade map mode. You'll see animations here on where the trade is going. We'll place a few merchants about. We'll place one in Alexandria so that we can get the trade going up to Venice, where we want to have another merchant that can steal the money out of everything. Then we'll see that the merchants are slowly ticking. So now we have placed 2 of our 3 merchants, and we'll trying to get money out in our home province, and we try to steer money out of Alexandria. So what else besides placing a merchant can you do to increase your trade income? First of all, you can conquer territory. Venice starts with control over Crete, so it means they have some small foothold and will basically be able to get money from there. If we conquer more stuff like Gaza, Judea, or the deltas, we'll have more and more control over this area of Alexandria, and we'll be able to funnel more trade to us. I'm also going to move down my fleet down to Crete and base it there so we can start protecting our sea lanes. One of these buttons, we'll put them to Alexandria, and then we'll see, if we're going to the trade map mode, we'll see that our trade power here will dramatically increase over time. And now we see that this little, there's no money going to Constantinople, no money going to Genoa, but we have a merchant here that's funneling almost 8 gold every month up to Venice. So the more powerful we get, the more traders or ships we can place, the more trade we can get. This is also interesting because at the start of the game, the Mediterranean is where the trade power is, because all the trade from the east flows through the Red Sea and over Baghdad and over the Silk Road. I can't pronounce it. But when Portugal discovers the way around Africa, a lot of that trade will be diverged so that the powers of the West get it. And then when Americas is discovered and colonized, we'll get lots more trade there, and Mediterranean will become a sideshow, and it's the powers of the West that becomes stronger. Oh, since time's passed, we can see that the ice is slowly freezing in the north. So we have all this terrain, seasonal effects on terrain. Similarities is the ups and downs a little bit in progress. The difference is that the world is larger and that what you have is yours. It's more that you play a country than a character. And you have a slightly different focus, and not just like managing dynasties, it's managing some diplomatic external, it's a little bit focused on external. It's more trade, more diplomacy, there's exploration, there's colonization. Ideally, what we hope to do, and I want to do, and I know my dev team's gonna hate me for it, I want us to do that so that when EU4 is ready for release, I want us to have make a small little CK2 DLC that just lets you export the game from CK2 into EU4. That would be rather awesome.
Yeah.
I would love to have that.